Hello. In the last phase of this refactoring, I addressed a different problem. So in the previous phase, what I've done is it was the definition of the visitor and the generation of export the questions to XML. So basically, what I've done, I've created these XML question export visitor that implements visitor, and in visitor I have actually I just had these three methods, and then what I've done is that I just I use the visit on the domain, accept on the domain, and then I receive it back here. Okay, so I accept the question there, and then I just generate the HTML, the XML. So, but now I'm I'm going to address a different problem, which is two things. The first is I want to have a different visitor. Now I want to generate LaTeX. Why LaTeX? Because actually I use, so it's basically a set of LaTeX macros that I use in the exams. So something like this, okay? This is actually an exam of software architecture, okay, with a few LaTeX macros. So these are questions, okay, these are the questions. And the other thing I want to do is where I have the questions themselves, and this is the question, okay. So actually what you see in the demo part, these questions were actually migrated from LaTeX files, okay, to the database. So I want to create this structure with my question. So what is the idea now? I want basically to, instead of generating XML, generate these LaTeX or these LaTeX macros. And another thing, now I want to generate not just the questions, but the quiz. So I want to generate the quiz and the questions of the quiz. This is interesting because if mine is just the idea to export to XML to import afterwards, when I generate the quiz, the things that I need to have in the question is not the question itself. I just need to have the key of the question. But now it's different. Now I want to really have the question there. So actually I generate the question in two places. So what I want to do, what I'm gonna do, well, first I change the visitor. Now these are the default methods, and the implementation is empty. So because in some visitors I'm not gonna need them, okay? And then what I've done, I have created first a question export visitor. But look, the question export visitor is empty. Why is it empty? I just export the questions, and then for each question I do accept here. Why is it empty? Because actually I want to reuse these this code in several contexts. So I want to reuse the export of the generation of LaTeX questions both here and in the context of a quiz. So I created a superclass LaTeX visitor that actually implements the visitor and is an abstract class and contains some methods that are the visitors that are reusable. So I have here how to visit a quiz, how to visit quiz questions, and I generate my code. So using these, so I'm not generating XML anymore. I'm just generating this, and so I have now these particular. So what is the idea? I can have a particular visitor, but if I have several visitors that can share some code, it's nice to have an abstract class for the visitor that I extend from it. So actually I start having two hierarchies, a hierarchy of generating XML and a hierarchy of visitors to generate LaTeX. Okay? And so now I can just run it, And for instance, I can run, this is not actually a test, it's just to see, to check. I could do something a bit more complex, that I look at the strings and verify that. But now it's enough just to see that is well generated. And what I've done, so for instance, in the export questions, I have these tests that I test the XML, and where I test I just export and then import. But here I don't want to import it back. I just want to export it to latex. So when I just generate this, when I run this test, I'm going to use the export questions latex, so in the question service to latex, and then I expect to receive this here. So to have an idea where this is, this code, I go there, and then I generate a latex question export visitor, which is actually this one, the subclass of the latex visitor. Okay, and it's running here, and we'll see what it generates. To that, if it generates something similar to this latex code. So what is going to be nice now is that I can go to the interface, I define a quiz, and I can just generate latex, and then I can print it, and I can have also a version in on paper. Okay, so I think it's here, it's running. It's gonna take a little bit more. Okay, almost there. Okay, so if you see, I have here, look, if you see this here, this has the same structure, includes even a figure here. Okay, and the options, everything is very similar to, or no, is similar to what I have here. So I generate this latex, and I can also generate the quiz. So it's not much more, because for the quiz, if you see this here in the quiz, it's just the list of questions. Of course, I'm not generating this, because it makes no sense. I just generate that part and I copy it here, and it's enough. Of course, I could generate it, but actually I could even done it in another phase before, but it's okay. So I can run that as well. So the export quizzes, I have this one, export quiz to latex, and it's going to run. And so what is the learned lessons here is that I've done it step by step. I increased the complexity as I needed. So first I defined that. First I didn't use a visitor. Then I say, well, maybe I need. So then I just have the same functionality. And now I generate the XML with the visitor, but only with a visitor interface. And then I say, now let's do latex. Then I generate latex, and I said, well, now I want to reuse, because I have different latex versions of the different combinations of generations, and then I start having this abstract class. So the abstract class is there because I really need it, okay? Not just because I think that is a cute abstraction to have there. Look what I've generated now. So basically, I have, this is my question that was already generated with other visitors as well. It has a single question, okay? And then these are comments in latex, so comments that I can see what is this quiz about. Okay, good. Thank you.